Chappaquddick. 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 Chappaquddick is a movie that was produced by Byron Allen. Everybody looked at him as a big Democrat. Listen. I'll tell you this. True to it. Chappaquddick is basically the true story or the untold story behind the scenes of what happened at Chappaquddick. This little area where, politicians go and hang out and resort. Little area where there's like little lake houses. And when you see it on the map, it's so small outside of Edgerton Town over there, Martha's Vineyard, all that area. Like when they go out to Nantucket Islands, Cape Cod Bay, very privileged area. So, Ted Kennedy, Senator Ted Kennedy, is the only lasting son left out of the Kennedys. The Kennedy father is dying. Bobby's death, John's death. It really took a blow on the family. And then Ted's the last remaining brother. And the fact of everyone's like, okay, he's the one that's going to run for president someday. And his dad wants to push him into that mold. Had an accident that happened at Chappaquddick where mysteriously, for some reason, as to anyone else in the free world, he didn't report this incident. And he was with a young lady, and she was a former assistant of Robert, his brother, and she ends up drowning in the car, and he didn't report the incident for 10 hours. You get to hear all the things behind the cover-up. You get to see how not so bright Ted really was. His family, friends, people that were surrounding the incident, trying to help protect him. His father, exerted every bit of Democratic power he had to try to help Ted get out of this situation and get ahead of it. So he goes and has a doctor, without examining him at all, said he suffered from a concussion and gave him some sedatives as they fed to the press. And then the press is like, when someone has a concussion, you don't give them a sedative or anything like that. That doesn't even make sense. So quickly their story was evaporating, and they trying to say that he was not drinking or drinking and driving when he lost control. And he said there's no guardrails, and that's how they went into the water. And the fact is, he basically left her to drown. And the cover-up behind it and all the other things, the tire marks, everything else involved, you would have to see in the movie, and you'll put it together yourself. And a lot of people are very concerned about this film as far as to say, what could have been prevented? Could this woman had lived had he went and got help, and why didn't he go get help? Or was his concern self-preservation? So when you watch this movie, it's very engaging, very intelligently done. I give it 3 stars. It was pretty. I like the actors; they delivered a great. And the Mara girl, she's once again proven. Saw in House of Cards, and she was incredible there. So, yeah. What's her name? Kate Mara? Yeah, she did an outstanding job. in the film. So Bruce Dern once again keeps showing his range as an actor. When you become a certain age, normally people retire, but he's still knocking down the roles. Ed Helms delivered one of his best roles, as I believe he's the cousin. I'm not really sure what it was his actual title. He's closest friend, but he seemed like he was the best friend. He wrote the speeches for Ted Kennedy and everything else, but I believe he was still family. I believe he's their cousin, and he played a great job playing that role. So it was quite intense. Trying to see how it's going to play out, especially if you don't know the real story or you just heard bits and pieces. This is going to be quite interesting to you. And they talk about the neck brace incident too, which the photo you see with him in the neck brace. So, yeah, definitely go check it out. I'm out.